Now, how many of you are familiar with the letter from George Washington to the Sultan of Morocco? And how many are you aware why many people who are supposed to be teaching these people about their nationality and birthright do not teach nationality, but they always use that word, and do not teach civics, while Marcus Garvey taught strict civics. And then some of these people who claim to love Noble Ali keep saying Noble Ali didn't teach civics. And they be getting away with it. Excuse me, it's awesome. Anyway, let me go to the lesson book and just show you all this again. And this is not stuff that y'all don't know, because y'all know this stuff. But I just want to remind you of what you already know. Now, most of you, or scholars, already know this stuff, but this is just for others who may be less familiar. Now, remember when Obama went to Egypt and he exposed that the American Constitution comes from Muslim law? So you must put it in context from a national perspective. So don't look at Obama as a black man, because black is Christian property. He's Kenyan. He got a nationality. He honors his mothers and fathers. That's the only reason why he was able to hold that office, because a black man can't be president. Why? Because he's property. Oh, clear. Clear. And we're not going to read the whole thing, we're just going to read the beginning to put it in context. All right? Now, this is George Washington, as you already know, dressed in his Masonic regalia. As all your founding fathers, as they call them, were Masons, right? So let's look at this letter from George Washington to the Sultan of Morocco. Keep in mind, look at the date, City of New York, December the 1st, 1789. Keep in mind, at this point, he was in office for about 6 or 7 months, all right, at this time. Since the date of the letter, which the late Congress, by their president, addressed your Imperial Majesty, first line to let you know that he wasn't the first president. He's making reference to existing presidents. Are we clear? The United States of America have thought proper to change their government and institute a new one agreeable to the Constitution, of which I have the honor herewith to enclose a copy. The time necessarily employed in the arduous task and the disarrangements occasioned by so great though peaceable a revolution will apologize and account for your Majesty's not having received those regularly advised marks of attention from the United States, which the friendship and magnanimity of your conduct toward them afforded reason to expect. The United States having unanimously appointed me to supreme executive authority in this nation, your Majesty's letter of August the 17th, 1788, which by reason of the dissolution of the late government remained unanswered and has been delivered to me. I've also received the letters which your Imperial Majesty has been so kind as to write, in favor of the United States to the Bashars of Tunis and Tripoli. See what Obama was talking about? He's talking about the Treaty of Tripoli. You understand, right? And I present to you the sincere acknowledgments and thanks of the United States for this important mark of your friendship with them. We greatly regret the hostile disposition of those regencies toward this nation who have never injured them is not to be removed on terms of our power to comply with. Within our territories there are no mines whether of gold or silver, and this young nation just recovering from the waste and dissolution of a long war. Hold on. Let me go back to the other day. Long war have not as yet had time to acquire riches by agriculture and commerce, but our soil is bountiful and our people industrious, and we have reason to flatter ourselves that we shall gradually become useful to our friends. The encouragement with which your majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions. So where do you think you're standing? On the Moroccan Empire. The punctuality with which you have caused a treaty with us to be observed, the just and generous measures taken in the case of Captain Proctor, make a deep impression on the United States and confirm their respect for and attachment to your Imperial Majesty. It gives me great pleasure to have the opportunity of assuring your Majesty that while I remain at the head of this nation, I shall not cease to promote every measure that may conduce to the friendship and harmony which so happily subsists between your empire and them, and shall esteem myself happy in every occasion of convincing your Majesty of the high sense which in common with the whole nation I entertain the magnanimity, wisdom, and benevolence of your Majesty. May the Almighty bless your Imperial Majesty, our great and magnanimous friend, with his constant guidance and protection, George Washington. And as you can see with the preamble, I'll get with you. When you see with the preamble to the treaty, to all persons to whom these presents shall come or be made known, whereas the United States of America in Congress assembled by their commission, bearing the date 12th day 1784, thought proper to constitute John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson, their ministers, plenipotentiary. See, you get potentate in masonry. Plenipotentiary, giving to them a majority of them full powers to confer, treat, and negotiate with the ambassador, minister, or commissioner of His Majesty the Emperor of Morocco concerning the treaty of amity and commerce, and make and receive propositions for such treaty, and to conclude, and sign the same, transmitting to the United States in Congress assembled for their final ratification. I'll need to go further. As you can see, the United States is an appendage of the Moroccan Empire, and they ain't telling you your own history. And all scholars, all Masons, everybody already know this. And all politicians already know this. But they've been doing what? They've been converting your estate, knowing that you don't know your bloodline. Are we clear? Clear. So these people who think they're Negro, black, and colored are Moors, they're under occupation, and they've been convinced that there's someone else which makes them non-descendable in law. Are we clear? Clear. Therefore, in order to be claiming your estate, you must be yourself. Because without an acknowledgement of your mother and your father, you have no inheritance. Because it comes from your mother. Do you understand? And so if you don't know your nativity, your bloodline, you're off the platform. Then when people reject you, now you want to march and pray. You don't even know your damn history. You want to talk about Jesus and Allah. And this is why everybody laughing at you. Then you go get a barrister to represent you because you can't present yourself, which is a statement which says that you're incompetent. So that makes you a ward. Now you're a ward of the state, talk about your own property. No, you don't. And people around you looking you in your eye, talking about Jesus, God, Allah, and everything else, promoting that black thing on you, and in the background getting a few pieces of slugs, they just call a few pieces of silver, selling you. And then hiding behind Jesus and Allah and Muhammad and stuff, and you be thinking that these people are spiritual. Oh, they're like overseers. So get over yourself. Learn these things and liberate yourself, which is why you're here at the House of Reawakening Minds.
Islam.
I'm clear. All right, so being yourself is very important, not an opinion, because you have no standing outside that. You know it. If nobody can tell you, now you know for yourself. You see? So a lot of our problems revolve around us really not knowing the politics. Again, which is why we're bringing these issues up, because even people who have this information keep misrepresenting this information. Because they're trying to control somebody, where they want you to be a part of a club. And if you ain't part of the club, you can't be more and all that kind of stuff. That's your bloodline. That's your pedigree. Do you understand? Now let's go to the Dungy case real quick. This is for some of you who have not been aware of it. I know some of you are, but some of you who have not been aware of it. So let's go to the Dungy case.
Why are you looking for that Taj Tarik?
Go ahead, my brother. Ask them. Excuse me.
Why are you looking for that? I just wanted to point out, when we're talking about dominions, the first letter, the encouragement which Majesty has been pleased generously to give to our commerce with your dominions.
Now, the Stars and Stripes is the commerce flag. Now, people, it's a banner, and people who don't know think it is the national flag. It is not. It's a trading banner of amity and commerce.
So in the research, what we did in this 1789 letter, we went back to the dictionaries of that time,
yes,
and we looked up dominions. And according to, not the best dictionary, here's an American Dictionary of the English Language, Noah Webster, 1828.
yes.
Dominions were sovereigns or supreme authority, the power of governing and controlling, the power to direct, control, use, and dispose of at pleasure, the right of possession and the use without being accountable as the private dominion of individual, territory under a government region, country, district governed or within the limits of authority of a prince or state as British dominions, government right of governing, predominance as order of angels, and persons governed.
So you can see why people who've been sucking off of us do not teach nationality or sovereign right in relationship to birthright. Or people who want to enslave you, including some of your own, will start attacking anything that's called constitutional or sovereign. They will attack it as if it's anti-government, when actually it's relative to your birthright.
That's right.
And this is why he said, be careful more, some of your own brothers and sisters wearing turbans and feathers, and we're trying to put you back in slavery. But if you understand these things, you will liberate yourself. So remember, so let's go over the Dungy case real quick and then we'll close out. And again, I want to give Dr. Naila a round of applause. Will you give her a round of applause for sacrificing? And even for paying the injury, you understand, make sure stuff keeps rolling. All right? And
Islam.
I want her to read one of our favorites from one of her books, because she got other manuscripts that have not been published yet, but this one has been published. The musings of an undercover. She's a poetess. You know, so most of you who know her already know that she has a natural oratory skill, because that's her spirit anyway.
Yes.
But it's really reflected seriously in her poetry. And I suggest for anyone to do yourself a favor and pick up a copy before you leave. So let's go into the Dungy case, and then we'll have Dr. Naila share some of her work with us. And it's a good bedside book. Abraham Lincoln defends William Dungy, Black Bill. Now you notice that in satirical papers of the 1800s, they got him in Moorish garb. And this has to do much with the Emancipation Proclamation. Of course, the land is Morocco. Of course, the Europeans converting the estate of the Moors. All right? So this was significant because that's what they're signifying. And this is why they also gave him the nickname Africanus the First. All right? So let's read and look at the nature of the case. Among the 10 Original Abraham Lincoln documents discovered last summer in the DeWitt County Courthouse at Illinois is a bond for costs in William Dungy versus Joseph Spencer. Written but not signed by Abraham Lincoln, the bond was a part of an interesting slander case. Family disputes that degenerated into slanderous name-calling feuds frequently appeared in antebellum Illinois circuit courts. Antebellum means before the Civil War. So you gotta put this in perspective, all right? So also, this is 5 years before he was president. This is when he was still a lawyer. All right? Such cases reflected the intent of American slander law to safeguard an individual's good reputation in the community against petty character assassination. Abraham Lincoln realized the value of reputation and declared in his first printed political speech that every man is said to have his peculiar ambition. I have no other so great as that of being truly esteemed of my fellow men. One unique slander case Abraham Lincoln argued at DeWitt County Circuit Court, Clinton, Illinois, in the May and October 1855 terms involved much more than a defamation of character, and suggested that Huck Finn's friend Jim might have reconsidered his plan of escape to freedom. I reckoned by 4 in the morning, I slip in just before daylight and swim a show and take to the woods on the Illinois side. In August of 1851, William Dungy, a dark-skinned man of Portuguese descent, married a European woman, Joseph Spencer's sister. A family quarrel ensued, which became so bitter that in 1855, Joseph Spencer, a European, claimed throughout the community that his brother-in-law, Black Bill, was a Negro. Since 1819, Illinois state laws permitted quasi-slavery and restricted the immigration of free blacks into the state. As other northern states passed personal liberty laws granting additional rights to free blacks, Illinois state toughened its stance against them. The 1849 Illinois State Constitution required the General Assembly to pass such laws as will effectively prohibit free persons of color, well, you know what that term means, from immigrating to and settling in the state. Those prohibitions against human rights were passed as the black laws, quote unquote, and went into force on February the 12th of 1853, the same date of the future emancipators Lincoln's 44th birthday. William Dungy faced losing not only his reputation, but his marriage, his property, and his right to remain in Illinois. Section 10 of the 1853 Black Law stated that every person shall have, person who shall have 1/4 Negro blood shall be deemed a mulatto. William Dungy retained Abraham Lincoln to quash the possibility that he might be judged as a quote-unquote Negro and therefore suffer the severe penalties under the 1853 Black Laws Act. Abraham Lincoln filed his declaration charging Joseph Spencer with slander on April 17th of 1855 and sought $1,000 in damages. A game of legal chess occurred during the first hearing in May. Joseph Spencer's attorneys, Clifton H. Moore and Lawrence Weldon, also Europeans, filed a demurrer to Abraham Lincoln's declaration, asserting that his charges were insufficient in law. Judge David Davis agreed that 2 of Abraham Lincoln's 3 charges were faulty. The case was continued and Abraham Lincoln was allowed to amend the declaration. At the next term of court, October 1855, the Dungy case was argued before a jury. According to Joseph Spencer's attorney, Lawrence Weldon, Abraham Lincoln's talents as a trial lawyer were evident in his argument for William Dungy. Lawrence Weldon stated that Abraham Lincoln questioned Joseph Spencer's character by demonstrating how Joseph Spencer went from house to house gabbing that William Dungy was a nigger, quote unquote. Attorney Lawrence Weldon emphasized that Abraham Lincoln's tone and pronunciation had a curious touch of ludicrous, which instead of detracting, seemed to add to the effect. Abraham Lincoln further undermined William Spencer by using humor to persuade the jury that there was reasonable doubt regarding William Dungy's race. The attorney, Lawrence Weldon, recalled Abraham Lincoln's statement. And pay attention to the statement that Abraham Lincoln made on the court. My client is not a Negro. Though it is a crime to be a Negro, no crime to be born with a black skin. But my client is not a Negro. His skin may not be as white as ours, but I say he is not a Negro, though he may be a Moor. Abraham Lincoln. Mr. Lincoln, interrupted Judge Davis, scarcely able to restrain a smile. You mean a Moor, M-O-O-R, not Moore, M-O-O-R-E. Well, Your Honor, Moore, M-O-O-R, not Clifton H. Moore, replied Mr. Lincoln, with a sweep of his long arm toward the table where Moore and I sat. I say my client may be a Moor, but he is not a Negro. Abraham Lincoln. Though the account may be apocryphal, Attorney Lawrence Weldon's recollection was characteristic of Abraham Lincoln's style. Abraham Lincoln then demolished the defendant's witnesses' testimony. Attorneys Clifton H. Moore and Lawrence Weldon had secured several depositions from residents in Giles County, Tennessee, the Dungy family home. These witnesses stated that they had personally known the family and that the white community had regarded the Dungies as Negro, quote unquote, or of mixed blood, quote unquote. Under cross-examination, Abraham Lincoln argued that the testimony was hearsay, as the witnesses admitted none of them lived within 30 miles of William Dungy residence. On October the 18th of 1855, the jury returned a verdict of guilty and granted William Dungy $600 in damages plus court costs of $137.50. Abraham Lincoln charged a $25 fee, which Lawrence Weldon considered minimal. To avoid an appeal to the Illinois State Supreme Court, Abraham Lincoln persuaded William Dungy to remit $400 of the judgment in return for the defendant releasing all errors which may exist in the court record. Under Illinois state law, the defendant could not appeal the verdict, but could appeal only on errors of procedure or evidence. Abraham Lincoln had taught Joseph Spencer an expensive lesson in domestic relations. So you can see the issue that our people are not Negro or black, but they're Moors, did not begin with no duality. This is an established fact in law, and this is a case, a Dungy case, 5 years before Lincoln was president. So you see it's not a new issue. However, you also know that so-called black leaders do not expose this kind of history. They will talk about ancient black gods of Egypt and ancient black this, and they're lying their butts off, putting our people in the very black codes that caused the injury. So this is a legal and a law case of status. It's showing you that it's status. And that as Negro or black, he lost his marriage, his property, and he's been kicked out of Illinois. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is to also let you understand the operations of this cheat that happens to our people, which is what they're also doing in converting your estates under the black codes, which are still in operation. This is again why you set up a trust, and this is again why you being your proper person, and this is why you do Trover suit, and this is why they ain't telling you this stuff. Do you understand? That you go under the municipal jurisdiction seeking remedy, and you ain't gonna get it. Wrong venue. You see the point? You will learn. Because see, they stole your estate, stole the gold, gave you private commercial paper, start training you like rats and telling you you have money when you don't. It's private commercial paper. The debt can't be satisfied, it can only be discharged and set off, which is what actually takes place, which is why they take the Federal Reserve notes that you give them as a gift, because it represents your labor. And so they what? Stealing your labor in your face, and you think you're making money. And then you say you're making money, now you're liable, now IRS taxes you. You see the dynamics? Meanwhile, your so-called black leaders promote this as if it's legitimate. They're lying right along with the Roman bosses. And they got you in a Christian black coat screwing you, and you marching and praying all over the place when that ain't the problem. They're converting your estate.
I do understand that. But what I'm saying is as far as the act of
You gotta stand right, because they can't hear you.
So I guess the act of discharging, how do we legally do that? I hear you talking about it all the
It's
time.
not that you, see, this is what happens. This is what happens. When you start figuring this out, then they start attacking you.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because when you try to discharge, you just fire them. And they've been living off your virtues, are we clear? See, so all the corporate members of the Roman Curia, that means all persons that run any corporation are members of the Roman Curia, all council people, all councilmen, all mayors, and all these people, they've been discharging in your name. That's how they float their bonds. So they create actually bonds with you. That's the bondage. See, so they get you thinking, well, they had chains on you, that was bonds in 1855, and then they freed you. Those bonds is registered on Water Street. Marriage certificate is a bank bond. Birth certificate is a bank bond. License is a bank bond. Car registration is a bank bond. Mortgages are bank bonds, and they make you think that they're titles of ownership. None of them are. Now, if you know Jesus, God, and Allah, you should know that. And this is what is moving the economy. It's all conversion. Now that you know, that means you know better, now do better. Right?
right.
And so we're breaking down details so that you have reference points. Now you do the rest of the work. Then you get with your family members, and if they don't believe you, take them to a law book, because remember, they can't read, they just think they can. So you take them to a law book, let them see it for themselves, because they're always going to tell you about what they believe. See, I believe that snakes are really high heels. No, they're not. You know, I don't like the sandwich, so I'm going outside and I'm going to have a discussion with Ronald McDonald. And so you stand out there arguing with Ronald McDonald because you don't like the sandwiches, and everybody looking at you, you think serious? And this is the way they're looking at us when we're arguing with corporations that can't speak. It's like arguing with Santa Claus because he never sent you that bike, and you wrote 10 letters. At what point you don't understand it's a fiction? Likewise, people of color are fictions. At what point we don't get why these tags are put on you? And if you don't rebut it, it stands. And this is what's been happening to us on multiple levels. And because all your property has already been hypothecated under the mortgage, you be thinking that mortgage is a title of ownership. No, it's not. It's a debt pledge instrument and your share property. And when the share property's work life gets thin, they tax you out of it. And maybe you need a new tenant. That's why you look at mortgages, they'll tell you tenant. Tenant means you're renting. What you don't get it? Well, I didn't know it meant that. Well, you signed it. I'm the owner. Well, that looks like tenant to me. And it's back to constant. And you can't get up people and they're going to tell you about Allah and Prophet Muhammad. You can't be a read. We're full of it. Then we pass that ignorance to our children and wonder why they keep losing. Of course, it's the devil's fault, right? Yeah. Devil's a scapegoat.
So in my proper person, I write these institutions, IRS, mortgage, tell them who I am.
Because they're trustees. So if you're an heir, how are you supposed to be talking? If you're an heir, how are you supposed to be talking?
I'm an heir. It's mine.
So then you appeal to them, you tell them what the hell to do.
Tell them to do.
And if you don't talk like that, they call you incompetent. And so an incompetent heir is not heritable, is she? So therefore, it's important for you to know what's going on, which is why we're exposing this information. So that you can talk with competence and confidence. Because they ain't expecting you to know this unless you're in your higher degrees of masonry. But and then publicly, they ain't talking. So if you're talking, they know that you're probably an heir to the estate. And you definitely ain't Negro, black, or color. Because you wouldn't be talking like this if you were. Because such persons don't know this information. Their property. So if you talk and act like property, you're treated accordingly. Translation, if you talk colored, you're treated colored. You understand? So when your knowledge changes, your language changes. Why? Culture is in the language.
Oh, yeah.
Are we clear? Are we clear? Anyway, Dr. Naila,
Yes.
when you get a chance, as soon as you take care of the people who's getting some of the good stuff over there, we would like you to share with us some of your poetry.
If I got glasses, if I have glasses. If I don't have glasses, here.
Because most maps are converted. Most maps are Oh wait, as soon as I get this, give me that.
That's there. The poem you want me to share is the one that I don't know.
Share the one you know.
Everybody heard the hair was forever and ever. I got one they call hair cares, and I know that really by heart. But the one that that I think he wants me to do is called.
Why don't you
Did I
read
mention-
both of them? That way we don't lose out.
Okay, all right. I have books up here too. I have a few books left. And by the way, Franchi wrote the foreword to my book
Can you pass her the mic, please?
because he's an awesome
Pass her the
poet.
mic.
He's an awesome poet himself.
Take the mic.
I do not know where my glasses are. But anyway,
Turn
can you
on.
hear me? No, this is off. I think this one died. This one about died.
Here, take this one.
Okay, here it is.
Take your wrist. All right, start all over again, because we need you on the,
Okay. I'm limping over here without my cane.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
In the light. All right, I don't have my glasses, but I think I can borrow green sheets for the one he would like me to do. But I have one called Hair Cares, which I can do by heart without these glasses. It says, remember the time when the only thing on our minds was how long or straight our hair was? So much so we do anything to get more, even buying fake hair from the corner Asian store.
Yeah.
We couldn't see our true beauty, no one really did. So we valued each other by the hair on our head, but not just our hair, but our skin and our features too, because a standard was set that we tried to live up to. Male and female, we walked a lie, put it in our heads, not realizing years later many would be dead from the very thing we thought would make us so much more. We became victims of a chemically waged biological war. We didn't know our true worth, so some thought they could score. And the manufacturers, they've been reeling us in more and more with, your hair needs more shine, and girl, your hair needs more swing, and we got just the product that can do the darn thing. But now, we realize that we are of royal stock, and true beauty suits us to a T. And the lips, tits, butts, and tans, and some have to buy those are things we get for free. And we're through with relaxers and products that burn. We're proudly wearing our hair natural because finally it's our turn to rock our locks, twist outs and froze, and yes, even our little washing goes. Does anyone else see the transition? Can you feel it in the air? That after all these years of chemical bondage, there's been a revolution in hair cares.
All right.
I call that one my signature poem because that was my manifesto. But there's another one I wrote that Brother Taj and a lot of them had listened to when I was reading off pieces of paper. I was scared up with a manuscript, and I was like, this is gonna be a book.
Islam.
Let me see. It's not gonna have as much passion because I can't see. But it says, I got 250. It's like 125. I'm like a 250 person, but anyway, I'll try. It's called Did I Mention? Did I mention my ascension takes me out of your detention? Or that my lower inhibitions have given way to precognition? Or that I've opened up my eyes so that I see behind your lies, and it's not hard to recognize that you're the devil in disguise. You work hard for centuries, enslaving minds of folks like me, and it's your fear of this exposure that keeps you delaying full disclosure. How do you sleep at night knowing your deeds have never been right? And regardless of your 1,000-year plan, soon you won't have a leg on which to stand. All around you, the indigenous are waking, and our birthright back we're taking. Yes, you really should be shaking. Can't you feel your matrix breaking? Excuse me, did I mention? This is not about dissension, so please don't make this something that is not. The time for righting what's been wrong is getting closer. Won't be long before my inheritance you stole, karma will make you restore. And oh yes, did I mention I am more? So I do have a few copies left. We've been getting this book out since 2013, but it's still relevant. I got some more. He's right. I got a lot more. I just haven't published it yet. But I think I have less. I put it on Facebook like last week that I have less than 50, but I guess I had less than 40. But I bought about 15 down here tonight. And if anybody wants one, you can get it for 10 notes. You can buy it online. It's 15. So it's 10 notes, and I will sign it. It has a lot of different things on it. I know Brother Taj has given it to a lot of different people, and he's an awesome poet himself. He wrote the foreword. It's about a page and a half of a foreword in here that he wrote, and I thank him for his support. I thank you for your support. I thank you all for. I just want to say again, because we weren't on Facebook Live before when I said this. We have folk from Atlanta, Baltimore, DC, Ohio, Virginia, where else? Shout it out. New Jersey, Long Island, New York, Philly, Maryland, where else? All these territories represented in this one place in the so-called first state, Delaware. But some people want to know where we're broadcasting from. So people come here and people want to meet Brother Taj, and they want him to come hither and yon. He's not going to go everywhere, but he will be here. So either catch him, first and third Fridays here on Facebook Live. And let me say this about Facebook Live to Facebook Live. I know what you're doing. And you're screwing with us, but we still gonna get the word out. We still gonna get the word out. And if folk can't see us on Facebook Live, then just come here live. And be a part of this. I'm grateful, for meeting some folks that on my Facebook friends, Brother Troy Douglas Sr., Facebook friends, people on Long Island, you know what I mean? Flying in from Atlanta. I mean, I love it. I love it because we have got to get together. We've got to come together on one accord. This information is invaluable. Like I said, he's not going to fish for us, but he definitely will teach us how to fish. And it would be easy, like how you do it. Now, I'm not knocking anybody because I've known you for 6 years and I'm still trying to figure it out. But every year I get more. I'm closer and closer to, I think, being able to do what I couldn't do in 2011 and couldn't comprehend in 2011 when we first met. And I opened this venue because I felt this was for everybody else. I didn't think it was for me, Brother Todd. Back then. It was people needing remedies. It wasn't me. And then I found out I was just as lost as everybody else. And so I am so happy that for the past almost 6 years, you've been here. And you will continue to be here, and we salute you. That's the teacher, Grand Sheik. Somebody said Taj Tarik Bey for the Amir of Northwest Amexem. So whatever it is, you know, that, you know, we can do to support you. We love you. You're loved all over the world. People love you. And do you know how, I don't know if that's the right word, what position we're in? Because, you know, I'm careful about words right now. We be like, I don't say I'm blessed. Somebody says, blessed means bloody. Okay, we ain't bloody. But how grateful we should be to be able to just be in his presence. This brother is like a walking book, a wealth of knowledge and humor. You know, how many of y'all think about it when you see peanut butter? You think about peanut butter sandwich, you want to do like this, right? or how many of you stop saying, you know, if you want to say something, you say, you don't know what the swell you doing. I think about him, you know, because these are the things that these are the nuggets that he has dropped along with all of this other great information. I don't know how he keeps it all in. I don't know how he does, but I'm so grateful that he lets it out here. Aren't you? Let's give him a hand. Yes, now give yourselves a hand. Okay, I got some stuff over here, and I got some books, and I got some. Who wants to see the demonstration of Organite? I only got 2 pieces left. Oh yeah, and some tea over there if you want to get a bottle for $1, note rather. So before you go. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.